must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Viewers, good morning. This morning, I want to address the issue of Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy. The legacy of His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya keeps on moving, keeps on going forward and forward. Since the handshake in 2018 that brought about the peace, the tranquility, the unity of purpose, President Uhuru's star has been rising. All over Africa, people are thinking of using the model that Kenya used to stop any form of violence, chaos on the streets after elections. As you know, all of you are aware that elections in Africa produce two things: after or before or after the voting. Disputed elections, winner takes it all, loser doesn't accept the results. But the Kenyan model takes us miles and miles away from the normal type of democracy. The democracy, a negotiated format, a consensus format. A democracy that gives consensus a chance. A democracy that talks about the future of a country, the unity of a country, as opposed to a fragmented country, polarized country, where most African countries find themselves in. We have seen in the last 10 years or so, most of the elections in Africa have been contested by the opposition. Very few people in Africa, countries in Africa, where opposition has conceded defeat and come up to congratulate the winner. We have seen the South African model has worked very well. The Ghanaian model has worked so well. I don't see any other country in Africa where the models have worked well. I thought it would be Sierra Leone, but today we see Sierra Leone going back to the same ethnic tensions, as you can see from the reports that are circulating in the international media and the local media. So elections in Africa are contentious issues. They create a contentious position, create a departing point for the people of Africa, of that particular nation. The legacy of Uhuru Kenyatta, therefore, will be remembered for having brought the tranquility that we have today, the peace, the new format, the new tool of having a better organized civil Africa, an Africa without violence, an Africa without chaos after elections, when the opposition accepts to work for the interests of a nation, not personal interests. This has worked in Kenya, and thank you very much, Your Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, for the tenacity and the steadfastness that you have guided this handshake up to today. For those who want to mutilate the handshake belittle the handshake. One lesson they should learn is to look at Libya. Libya was once a territory we all respected. It is no more. Let's keep the handshake and the legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta. Thank you.
Good morning to you. This is Good Morning Africa. My name is Miriam Mugutu. Of course, the day is the 23rd of November 2020 here. A beautiful Monday here in Nairobi. I trust that you had a wonderful weekend. Welcome to the show. We have a lot in store for you. And as usual, we'll start with the news making headlines across Kenya. And this we do by looking at the three leading newspapers here in the country: the Standard newspaper, the Star newspaper, as well as the Daily Nation. And then after that, we will jump on to our topic of the day. And that is President Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy. He promised a lot of these things to Kenya, so we have to Kenyans. So we have a responsibility to see what is President Uhuru Kenyatta doing in terms of delivering some of these key things that he promised Kenyans during his last campaigns, and some of based on the Big Four agenda that he created in his second term. And so we have to keep tabs on what really he's doing and how much he's been able to come so far in terms of cementing his legacy. Thank you so much, and a warm welcome to you. The panelists shall be joining me in a short while. But before they come, let's just dive into the headlines this morning. And we start with the Star newspaper. Uhuru lays bare crime surge in security report. And there is a part of the BBI report. I know all we hear about the BBI is expanded executive, more members of parliament and all that. But there's also a part of the BBI that addresses matters security. And so we shall look at that on top of the hour. And we see the headline this morning, and of course the surge of teenagers and what we've been seeing happening. I see that is making headlines across all these major newspapers. These stories that we've been hearing from the local news television stations and media houses about teenagers disappearing from their homes, running away from their homes for even days on end, and apparently they're being engaged, they're being lured through the social media, and they go and participate in these things that are not really okay for them. And when I watch, like yesterday, I was watching about 40 young teenagers had disappeared from their homes, and they've been away for like a week, ages between 14 to 17. And I was just wondering, as a parent, I don't know. How does your child slip out and you don't know where they are? 1 day, 2 days, I don't care how many, even for hours, they shouldn't be away without you knowing where they are. So what is really happening there? What has happened to the parenting? Is the parenting to blame? Is the media influence to blame? Is the availability of social media and internet and phones to blame for this surge of, some habits that are really putting these children in danger? I just don't understand. I can't imagine my son being out of my house and without me knowing where he is. That cannot even happen. So I don't know, maybe parents, maybe there's a point that we missed, and maybe there's something that you're doing that is not really. And I understand right now they've been at home for the longest time, and you have to go out there and work, and you leave them in the house the whole day. You don't know what they're doing, but still, that is one of your most important responsibilities as a parent. Whether you have the best nannies in the world who you think are taking care of them, as a parent, you cannot abdicate your duty. You still have a responsibility. I know you have to work to provide for them, but you still have a responsibility to ensure that they are doing the right thing. You're checking up on them. They are where they're saying they are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and you're able to know what your child is doing. I don't know. I can't even wrap my head around my teenage child running away, not even spending a night in the home, and I don't even know where they are. Cannot happen, not in my lifetime. But that is what we've been seeing happening there. So that is a cause for concern, and these reports are quite troubling there, what is happening. All right, so Uhuru lays bare crime surge in security report, and President says politicians are supporting outlawed criminal gangs. Oh, okay, so let's just look at that on page 4 and 5 of the Star newspaper. And Kenya has recorded a crime surge. The government attributes to the country's job crisis, incitement and support of outlawed groups by political leaders. A new report on the state of national security tabled in Parliament by President Uhuru Kenyatta shows that crime in Kenya increased by 5.8% in 2019. Uhuru partly put the blame on the political elite, whom the report accused of supporting and bankrolling activities of outlawed groups. The report, compiled by the National Intelligence Service, other agencies, says politicians are at the center of the emergence of the outlawed Mungiki sect, land and boundary dispute, as well as intercommunal conflicts, whereas the threats posed by Mungiki significantly declined during the period. There was re-emergence of activities by its remnants in parts of Nyeri, Murang'a, Kirinyaga, Kiambu, and Laikipia counties. The 35-page report states. Now that should be super worrying for any Kenyan out there, because if you lived in this country long enough and you hear the groups like Mungiki and other outlawed groups, you will understand how much terror they cause to some parts of this country. And some of them were even accused in the 2007-2008 post-election violence. So to see there's been a surge and re-emergence of some of these groups, this indeed is a matter of national security. And as I said there, BBI has addressed matters security. So later on, we shall be looking. I do have the abridged report, and we shall be looking at that part as it has been outlined there: safety and security, and what Kenyans said about their how do they feel safe, do they feel secure, and what some of the things that they would want to be addressed in terms of their safety and security. So we shall be looking at that at the top of the hour at 11 a.m. So right now I'm joined by Jevan Karanja from Nanyuki. Jevan, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Miriam, and good morning to our viewers wherever they are watching us from. Yeah, thank you.
All right, welcome to the show. And let's just start with that story that I'm reading here, that this security report that was given to President Uhuru Kenyatta that says there has been some reemergence of some criminal groups like the Mungiki, and this has been contributed by our politicians. Apparently, they're the ones who are funding these groups. Should this be a cause for concern for Kenyans?
Yeah, Miriam, it should be a call for concern for everybody and for everybody who cares for this nation. Because, Miriam, we know what happened when Mungiki was quite vibrant in this country, especially in our region, in Mount Kenya region, where, Miriam, you could not even own a car because they will come and ask you for access or something small. Miriam, even the milk that we used to get from our cows, you used to give them some liters of milk because to them, you must have paid something so that you remain in that village or you remain in peace. Therefore, they contributed much even to destruction of properties. And Miriam, most of the youth who are radicalized in those groups, even today they have not yet recovered because it was quite a thing. Because, Miriam, to be recruited in such groups, you must even abandon the humanity in you. So, because the things that you're supposed to do are quite inhuman. Therefore, these are groups that are meant to destabilize even a nation, even a community. Miriam, therefore, we don't want to go back where we were in those days. And we give thanks to then Minister for Security, John Michuki, who came up into speed, and he destabilized that group of Mungiki. And Miriam, these days is not quite big. But Miriam, in recent days, this group have been reimagining, and it's not a good thing because the kind of things that they were doing then, those are the kind of things they want to repeat doing, even at this moment. And Miriam, the people to be blamed is our politician who use these groups as their tools to get power, to intimidate their opponents, to intimidate those people they feel they are not supporting their agenda. Therefore, These groups are not good if for this country. And Miriam, in Kirinyaga and Muranga, I think that is where these groups are coming up in a very good force. Therefore, we as a country, we must condemn such groups, because Miriam, they terrorize the community, they terrorize the country, and at the end of the day, they even kill. Miriam, when you go to those places in Muranga, you'll see a lot of graves of young men and women who were killed when this group was relevant and when the police were looking after them. Therefore, it's a bad thing. We must condemn. And those politicians who think that it's them who cares a lot more than Kenyans, they should understand that this country belongs to everybody, and every Kenyan is entitled to have security and to be protected. Therefore, such thing we condemn by all possible terms.
All right, very well. So the report comes just weeks after an intelligence report showed that politicians from both sides of Jubilee were involved in the planning and execution of the chaos in Kennel Town, Muranga, which led to the death of 2 youths. Inspector General of Police Hilary Mutyambai ordered the arrest of Kiharu Member of Parliament Ndindi Nyoro and his Kandara counterpart Alice Wahome, but the decision was not executed. So we're seeing, according to that report, remember the chaos that claimed 2 young people there during that rally by Deputy President DP Ruto there. So they're saying both sides of Jubilee participated in this chaos. Does this go to show? I mean, because I know now we've been in a perennial political octogen since I don't know when, since the last elections. We didn't even catch a break as Kenyans. Our politicians took us right back from that very much contested election straight to another campaign, and it has been sustained since the last elections there. And so we've seen a lot of young people and how they have been used, when it comes to even some of these political activities. I don't know, should we start sensitizing our young people and just having them understand, especially for those ones who are jobless, because I know they're an easy prey when it comes to politicians wanting to use them, and also the ones who are just disillusioned, because the whole world is going through a very difficult time right now. Young people do not have jobs like that, and so they have nothing else to do. So if they're paid something small, they're told go in such a place and cause mayhem or being used in this way. And now we're seeing, because of that, a lot of them will not even have a problem to join these criminal gangs like Mungiki and others, because if they're being funded and they're getting something out of it, they will join. So what can the government do in its part to ensure that our young people are enlightened and are made aware that you cannot join that and you cannot be part of that?
One thing, Miriam, and we must agree, even the community, apart from our leaders, we should also include the church leaders and our parents, because sometimes we might blame the government, but it's the failure of those people who are supposed to give guidance and counseling to these young people. Therefore, these things should start from the family level. And Miriam, we should have a vibrant church, a church that stands for its moral authority. Miriam, I understand on those later days, I'm told that the church was a very respected institution, but these days it has eroded its moral authority, even to a point where pastors are caught doing all manner of things, drinking and doing all those things that they're not supposed to do. Therefore, these young men, to some point, they don't have a role model. They don't have people to look up to give them the counseling and the guidance that they need. Miriam, it was this weekend when we saw a group of young people doing all manner of things in Nairobi, and they were coming from far as Machakos, drinking and doing all those kind of things. Therefore, we must understand, on such occasion, this is when these young people are made to join these groups. Therefore, what we can do is to have a society that is upright, a society that upholds its morality and does good things and has virtues that can contribute to a society, a well and healthy society. Therefore, Miriam, we should also have leaders who condemn such things. And the one thing that we must do is to make sure that all leaders who are held culpable of doing such things and sponsoring such groups, they should also be taken, law should take a role, and they should suffer imprisonment, and they should suffer severely, so that they teach as an example to those other group who want to do such things. And to our young people, one thing that the government should also not forget to do is to create enough jobs, so that, Miriam, some of these young men, they are desperate. They went to school, they graduated, they have their degrees, they have their diplomas, they went to this technical institution, but they don't have somewhere to work. They don't have somewhere to get a living. Now, the best alternative now they have is to join such groups, is to start doing some other things like robbery with violence and so on. Therefore, the government should also ensure that we have young men and women who are employed. And I feel like the government is trying to do one or two things through the Kazi Mtaani and so on. And these are the things that
all right.
and these are things that are ensuring that our young men
All right, we apologize for that. Professor is trying to join us there. All right, very well. Thank you so much. And Javan, before we continue, I'm sorry for that interruption there, but we are also joined by others on the panel this morning, and we're joined by Kidi Mwanga. Kidi, good morning to you.
Morning, Miriam. Pleasure to, good to see you again.
And nice to have you on the show this morning, and also Professor Jared Onyari. Professor, good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Okay. All right, very well. Professor seems to be having a bit of a problem there with the signal, but I am sure he will just sort it out in a few. So, Kidi, as you were joining, we were looking at this headline, and perhaps we will not delve so much into it because it will make our topic of debate at around 11, where we shall be looking at safety and security, and it was captured in the BBI. I know when people hear BBI, they only think about expanded executive, bloated parliament, and things like that. But there are also other very important things that BBI has been able to highlight, and Kenyans were able to give their opinions on some of the things that they feel are very important to them and how perhaps they would want the government to improve in terms of addressing some of these things. And one of them is safety and security. And this morning, it just so happens that it's one of the key things here, report that was presented to President Uhuru Kenyatta by the National Intelligence Service there, that says the report compiled by the National Intelligence Service and other agencies says politicians are at the center of the reemergence of the outlawed Mungiki sect, land and boundary disputes, as well as intercommunal conflict. And Akidi, are you surprised?
Well, I'm not. Miriam, I'm not surprised because for quite some time now, we have mobilized our politics on the basis of siege mentality. And this siege mentality usually takes the dimension of tribe versus tribe. And so that you realize that every time we are headed towards a general election, we are looking at, we conjure up narratives that are seeking to either buttress that are certain tribal arithmetic working together would get certain people to power to the exclusion of certain people and vice versa. So that, and that is why personally I am very proud of President Kenyatta in his boldness to embrace the BBI process. But the BBI process was saying that, in a nutshell, that all this has not been proper and right, and that these are some of the things we must move away from. And so that through the BBI process, he was attempting to set a stage on how to ensure that we punish such brand of politics to the dustbins of history. So yes, that intelligence report is not surprising. It demonstrates that we have got so much to do to ensure that we come together as a nation of ideals and not as a nation of blood ties. Thank you.
All right, very well. Thank you so much, Professor. Good morning. And of course, this report, now we see reemergence of very dangerous groups like Mungiki and of course others, I'm sure, across the country. And according to the report, it is the politicians who are funding and bankrolling these groups and using them to engage in activities that of course are outlawed. Are you surprised by this report? And if so, now that this report is out and the intelligence of this country has established this, what should they do even as we enter next year? I know we'll start very active campaigns. What should the government do in terms of dealing and curbing this before they get out of hand? Professor.
But I want to tell you from where I stand. Is not is intelligence information on the ground. But what I want to tell you, one media want to put in place, and we are into serious business, Miriam. We will have the report passed, Miriam, because now there is a lot of innuendos. There's the people are scaring people with COVID-19. People are talking about the economy as if even if we stop PBR, COVID-19 will come down or the economy will just increase, Miriam. So once the mechanism put in place, the laws toward the referendum, and the campaign kicks on, Miriam, I'm sure the report is on course.
All right. Very well. Thank you. Thank you there. And of course, as I said, I will not get too much into that because it will form part of a discussion at 11 a.m. So I'll just leave that there and we shall continue with it. So we turn our attention to the front pages of the Standard newspaper. Horror of teens in party orgies. Shocker, 2 arrested after police stormed a house party. Seized 44 children and recovered alcohol, bang and used condoms yesterday after outcry over missing girls. Professor, I know you've been watching this and you're a parent. I don't know if you have a teenager. I do have a teenager. My son is 13 going to 14 there. But I can't imagine him sleeping out for days, not even days. For even coming home late after when it's dark, I can't even imagine. I can't even wrap my hand. It is just impossible in my house. So these children between the ages of 14 to 17 have been away from their homes. They go participate in these things. What is really wrong here? Who can we blame for what we've been seeing happening?
The blame and responsibility is squarely on the doorsteps of the parents. You know, there are some things we can negotiate. There are some things to discuss. But this room for negotiation. I have got this kind of business of parents around the children. They are going to sleep over. There are these things of the partying. And this is not the first time, Miriam, we have seen it all over. Go for these parties, for birthdays. They take hardcore. And here is the parents, you allow your children, you allow people's children to come. Miriam, on this, I need to go back and see where the rates are. I can't not allow that I can host a bunch of all those children in my house. We must have a conversation and a discussion with our children, and we tell them these are the minimum. And if you have to have that parties, Miriam, you have to, because you want to be modern. A time will come to find that you are no longer modern when you will be crying. See the kind of things which were happening, Miriam, there. Young children introduced to all sorts of those things. I could see so much in that kind of place because people were drinking, people were drinking. I want to urge my fellow parents, may we take our responsibility. There is something I shared, I don't know whether I shared you of what. I remember in 1990 when I was in first year in the university. My professor, Richard Sang, when we had a small conversation,
Professor, we are having a problem with the reception of your audio. Are you able to turn it to just audio? We seem to be having a problem. We can't get you clearly there. It's breaking. So I don't know if you're able to just have an audio instead of the video and see if it will make a difference. All right, go ahead. Okay, we seem to have lost Professor there, but Akidi, I mean, when you're watching that report yesterday or the news there, you know, some kids were reported to have disappeared from their homes. About 6 girls, was it, that really brought up all these things that now we are reading from. Are you worried about the future of these young people out there?
Well, Miriam, we all have a reason to be worried, especially as parents and soon to be parents. We really have to be worried. Worried because these news are a demonstration of not a problem that is beginning, but a bubbling to the surface of a wound that has been left to fester for so long. And there is the desire to want to blame parents and say that our parents have failed. And I find that position shallow because one thing is that as a society, we are collectively responsible for how our children turn out. Because our children, ordinarily, we know that our children it takes a village to raise a child. But then the first problem is that we have, for quite some time, embraced an education system that placed premiums on grades and passing exams without pausing to interrogate if it imparted the necessary values to our children. The other thing is that we did not create space for good cultural practices to thrive amongst in our midst. If anything, we embraced the individualism that is synonymous with the middle class. And then 3, you realize that the values we were trying to impart in our children did not match with their realities. Because you and I know that a parent cannot put a teenager on a short leash in the house, in the neighborhood. At sometimes you'll go to work, at sometimes you'll step out, and sometimes they will be on their own and unsupervised, and you would hope that they would, make the best choices. So, for instance, our teenagers have been looking at, for instance, our political landscape, and they've seen how we've let charlatans and wheeler dealers and fat cats to thrive, and that decency does not matter, that compassion has stopped mattering in Kenya, that being a good person is equivalent to being looked as a weakling. So that when we fix those problems, our young people shall be able to set their sights higher because they shall have genuine role models. So yes, the problem is us, the society. Thank you.
But even as we go there and perhaps blame the politicians, charity begins at home.
Yes, what I'm saying, that I am blaming politicians. I'm saying, Miriam.
Before we blame the society as a whole, there are certain things that are nurtured right from the home. Yes, I'm sure maybe me and you, we grew up at the same time, I'm not sure. But there's no way I could come home late. Nobody ever told me that, but I knew it is unacceptable, all right? There are things that we grew up knowing and understanding very well. There were nobody needed to explain to you, but you understood. I cannot even dare to do this. So what really has gone wrong in terms of perhaps, I don't know, the role models maybe we've become to our children and the kind of things that we have allowed at home, because before the society comes, this child, there are things that can only be nurtured from the house.
Yes.
Go ahead, Javen.
Thank you very much, Miriam. And I agree with Wakili Kidi Mwanga that we as a society, Miriam, and that is what I was telling you before we got the first interruption. And I was telling you that the society, the young people, they have nobody to look up to, because the people who are supposed to give the guidance, to show them the way, they are the same people who are doing all these manner of dramas out here. They are the parents who are drinking and coming home late. They are coming there with all these drinks. They are taking party at home. You look at what is happening, Miriam. You have a birthday. You call those things, nowadays you are calling them my girls, boys clubs, and so on. You come with them in your house. You have your teenager. you start drinking and doing all manner of things. You smoke bangi, you do all those kind of music and dancing. What are you showing to your kids? This kid will copy from there, and when their birthday comes, they'll tell you, "Mom, Dad, I want to invite my friends here," and they'll do a replica of what they saw their parents doing. Therefore, these things are starting from home, and they come to the society. Because Miriam, these days, even if you see a young girl who is in secondary school or a young boy who is in secondary school smoking bangi in your neighborhood, you'll not ask them. You'll just ignore them and you go your way, because the society have been said, you cannot even dare to ask someone's kid or a child, why is he doing such kind of things? Because as a society, we have brought this manner. We have copy-pasted a lot of Western kind of culture to a point we have eroded our own culture as Africans and as Kenyan and as our tribes where we come from, because we have a culture that was quite strict on such issues. Miriam, you see, even nowadays, our young men and women, they don't have respect to the older generation, not because that they want to do so, but because even the older generation, they are not respecting their age, to say. And as Miriam, there is also a generational gap. Our parents and our kids, the kind of exposure our kids are having today is quite different to what our parents used to have. This generational gap and the parental gaps, they are not able to fix this gap as a parents and as a community. That is why they find these kids, they have a room to explore, to do other things, because to a point, their parents, they are not even realizing what they are doing. Even the kind of language they are using is the Sheng and so on. They have the smartphones, they have the WhatsApp groups, something that our parents didn't have when they were at our age. Therefore, this kind of exposure and the kind of TV programs that we watch, look at our television, they glorify those manner of things that erode our moral virtues and values. Therefore, you see this kind of exposure and so on. This is what is bringing all these manner of things. Because Miriam, there is nobody to be held responsible, because everybody has gone away. Nobody tries to do good these days. And as Kidi was saying, you try to look good, people are saying you are a pretender, you are hypocrite. What are you doing? Now the society have been turned to do bad things. That is why you see even young people nowadays, we are saying, if you want to be to get rich, you want to get somewhere, you must do 1 or 2 things that entails corruption and the other vices in the society and robbery and so on, so that you get there. Therefore, this manner of things, we are the society who have normalized them. It looks normal. Miriam, even you see, we are the one who are making these all manner of things. But even you are watching news and somebody is telling you, these are normal things. This is what is happening. Miriam, they are even hiding in their homes. The siblings, they are doing all manner of things. Therefore, this was just something that was caught. But this is something that has been happening. Okay. It's not the first thing. They are there. This was just by an accident that the police were able to see and catch them doing all manner of things and doing smoking bangi. But these things are there. The society has normalized it. Our parents, some of them are doing them. Therefore, this is a society problem. And we as a society, we are the only one who can solve this issue.
And we have to address it. Kidi, you're going to say something before Javen came in?
Yes, I was saying that I am not placing the blame on but that as a society collectively, including our political economy, does not incentivize good manners. Yes, thank you.
And as a parent, this is how I raise my child. I am the first role model. So I don't care what Kitty does. I don't care what he'll watch the governor of Nairobi do. But me as the father, we are the first role models. So if we are able to get that right, even if they see other influences outside the house, but they are grounded to the core, who they are from the house, I think they'll just be all right. So we have to be the first role models to our children. I know the society is rotten. I know there's a lot of exposure when it comes to television and film, and they have phones and internet. But still, let's raise children who are grounded, and that can only happen in the homes. When the child is grounded from the house, when they're out there, they'll be able to know who they are, because you've already instilled certain things in them, even if they deviate just a little bit, because they will at some point. They become very curious and they want to, especially when they become teenagers, They want to start speaking a certain way and looking at things differently and experiencing certain things. But at the end of the day, when they're grounded and they know who they are from the house, even if they deviate just a little bit, they'll always have a place to come back to and the core of things that they believe in and their belief system. All right. Professor, anything else you need to say about that before we move forward? I know you had a problem with your signal there. Okay. So, bigwigs, red card for MPs, the new BBI proposal. And before I get to that, there's something here on the Star newspaper. I know we've looked at the Star newspaper that says contested referendum will divide Kenyans. One, NCIC, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, has cautioned President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga against bulldozing their way through a referendum without consensus. In an interview with the Star, NCIC Chairman Samuel Kobia said the foundation of the Building Bridges initiative was to unite the country. Hence, a contested plebiscite will miss its cardinal objective. Kidi, what do you make of that?
I find that suggestion by Apostle Kobia laughable at best. Laughable because all political contests are likely to result in a little push and shove. And saying that we do not go to a referendum because it will heighten, those fault lines is like saying that we do not, asking our mothers not to give birth because it will be painful. Pain is part of that process.
Okay.
And I know that is a very graphic example.
No, it's okay. It makes sense.
But let me say this.
Yes.
If when you were young and playing football on the pitch, sometimes we would sprain our joints or limbs, and when taken to the therapy to have that limb fixed, that was one of the most painful experiences. But then when that process was done, and you're able to walk again and run again, you would go back to your mother's hut and get a chicken and take to the person who did the therapy for you, and you tell them thank you.
Mm-hmm.
The referendum is seeking to cure fundamental socio-political problems. For instance, the BBI process has asked a fundamental governance question that some people have heard mentioned, though simplistically, that Americans should emulate. That how do you lock out, let's say, 48% of a population out of the governance and running of a polity? That is a question that we cannot wish away. The other question is that does a pure presidential system serves us? That is a question that we cannot wish away. And then, all he dealt with, especially before we go to the next general elections, it is only incumbent upon people who have been engaging in grandstanding before to now get off their high horse and engage the president and the prime minister respectfully. Because one thing the BBI process has demonstrated is that the horse has bolted. And now it is them to play catch up, or as Matiba would say, let the people decide. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay, well, Javan, what do you make of that? Kidi says this suggestion by the National Cohesion and Integration Chairperson Samuel Kobia is laughable. He's saying that a contested referendum will further divide this country, and so it will beat the purpose of BBI, and that was meant to unite Kenyans. Before Javan, you come in, I see Professor has joined us, has fixed the problem he had with the reception, and I'm told that, Professor, you adjust your headroom a little bit. Aya, asante. Sasa huyu chairman wa National Cohesion and Integration Commission anasema a contested referendum is not a good idea for this country.
Yeah, Miriam, before I answer that question, there were my original thoughts I was saying, yes. And I didn't like what Kidi said.
Okay. Okay.
And that's my subject. And when I speak that one, I speak with authority.
All right.
Yes.
When I pray, I say that I pray parents. How do you pray me that if you are parent, you have brought 44 children of someone with all those whiskey, with all those condoms? How do I come in? How do you arouse someone, his children, to be in your house? Did you see the kind of whiskey? I don't know the names. If you drink it, perhaps you can see. Did you see the kind of things that were there? Mm-hmm. You want to turn again and blame children? How can they afford those ones, Miriam? Mm-hmm. So what I want to say, Miriam, the society, I believe in the family. There are some of the basics which are being taught in the family. Mm-hmm. When children there is no school where children can be taught to obey. There is no school where children can be taught to love each other. There is no school where children can go to be taught on how to hate each other. They will be taught in the family. And remember, these folks, Kiddy, they are very intelligent. They were you. And I was telling you in 1990, and I can see it happening today. My professor then, Richard Matsanga in Egerton University, and when I was in first year, he was doing for us orientation, and we were having a chance to speak with our vice chancellor, having come from those villages, you know me, Kiddy. And they could tell you that he beat Africa. Because Africa, a kindergarten kid will tell the dad that, why have you come with this car? He cannot want to be carried by Toyota. He will want to be carried by a Ford, a Mercedes-Benz, a Range Rover, Miriam, a kindergarten kid. And you succumb to that. He will question you, why have you come late? Do you know you have embarrassed me? Do you know when he's going to school, when the lunch box is being packed, Miriam, she inspect, and they say, what kind of food will be put there? And you succumb to those ones, and then you turn around, you blame the children. Miriam, on this, we have to blame. Mm-hmm. I personally, I cannot allow someone, his children, to come into my house. If they have to come, there's time for departure. Mm-hmm. So on this, and again, I'm saying this, when your child sleeps out, what is the explanation? What's the explanation? What do they tell you? Miriam, I was persuaded the way you were trying to say this one. Mm-hmm. And your son will know that mom doesn't like this.
No, he knows. You don't come home late.
He will say that, Mom, I know you are unfair. Mm-hmm. The Bible says, teach the child the way to go. Even when she is old, mm-hmm. she will not forget. Mm-hmm. The Bible does not say that you force them to take, but the Bible tells you, you teach them. Mm-hmm. That is fair enough. Don't allow someone's children to come to your house into that magnitude, Miriam, and you don't question. You must be a very responsible parent of no direction. And in due course, Miriam, you will come to realize what kind of parent are you. Because those children, when they will take head on you, you will not like, you will just come and say, oh, the child has become hostile to me. Someone has bewitched my children. Why somebody's children? Let us be very responsible. And what I agree with the kid here is, let us parents, let us compare notes and share notes on how we bring up these children. Mm-hmm. We cannot leave them to the teachers. We cannot leave them to the church. The family. Mm-hmm. The family. Let me just come back to your question, Miriam, now.
Yes.
You have said a contested, Miriam.
National Cohesion has said.
Yes.
Chairman.
Yeah, that is something which is sleeping. Mm-hmm. In the first place, it's not even supposed to be there. Perhaps when it was with the Cabarro, you could hear the voice of speaker, order. This one is sleeping on the job and doesn't know what is happening. Miriam BBI has been with us for the last 32 months, 2 years. Those people who have their country, they had a civil duty, Miriam, to give their views. They had a civil duty, Miriam, to ask where things are not clear, Miriam. Miriam, these people who are asking consensus, those people who don't want contest, Miriam, those people who are trying to do, let me tell you, Miriam, even the likes of this Kobe and others, even Supercam, Miriam, those people are opposed to BBI. And the time has come for Miriam to look at the history of Kiddy, Javan, yourself, myself, and others. Miriam, we spent 20 years to deal with the 2010 constitution to change with that kind of mentality, Miriam. Mm-hmm. There are those people who believe in reform. There are people who believe in change. There are those people who are revolutionary by nature. But those people who believe in democracy. And there are, Miriam, there are others who believe in conservatism. Those who are in the status quo. So, Miriam, I like the statement which I said now the House has voted, Miriam. This thing has to be brought to the Kenyans. Let the Kenyans, Miriam, vote no. Even if they vote no, Miriam, The struggle continues because there are those of us who believe in the struggle. We will live in the struggle, fight in the struggle, and just die in the struggle. That is how societies were being changed. So, Miriam, we don't have time for consensus. People saying, oh, do this. You did not give your views. Even that consensus they are asking us. Miriam, who tells you that we are going to agree? They were on comatose. They have woken up. And there are some Kenyans who are in comatose. When you have reached the consensus, they also wake up. Are we going to conclude the process? No. 2005, the government stood for the constitution. It was opposed. The no carried the day. Kenya continued. And 2010, we were able to have a constitution. But Miriam, if you look at this BBI, those of us who have read it forward, Miriam, who have read it, it is a progressive document. We cannot make a perfect document. Those who want to make a perfect document, let us deal with this one. We will come to refute what they are trying to say. Do you know, Miriam, with the implication about? We are talking about the social contract. Kenyans say they want resources on the ground. So if you refuse the resources being increased from 15 to 35%, what does it mean? Miriam, Kenya, we were saying, Miriam, that Kenyans want to be feel part of the government. Here, what the president, American U.S. President-elect Joe Biden, he says he will be the president of the United States of America. Those who voted for him and those who did not vote for him, and he means it. But in this country, what does it mean? If you don't vote for me, nothing will come to your area, Miriam, and those are taxpayers' money. And that's why Kenyans are saying, let us have everything in inclusivity. So, Miriam, I know when the document will come out, when all mechanisms will be put in place, Kenyans need not to have a fear. Those who don't fear, let them just come back forward and tell Kenyans, don't vote this document. And those of us who believe in it, we will come forward and we will educate Kenyans. This is a progressive document. So let us not have what NIS is telling us. Let us have what national cohesion is telling us, Miriam. I know the people of Kenya. We are very intelligent. We know what's happening.
All right. Jevan, the National Cohesion and Integration
Miriam,
Commission.
there is something Professor said that I want to still reiterate.
Okay, go ahead.
That the people who are opposed to the BBI process now have conveniently mentioned economy and have mentioned COVID, that if we stop the referendum process, COVID would go away on its own. That economy would fix itself.
Sounds like
I mean,
Trump
that is,
say.
yes, they are being what I would describe that as being incredulous. So we've got to do what we've got to do, because if we don't, our future generations will judge us very harshly.
All right, very well. Thank you so much, Kidi. Jevan, NCIC, is saying a contested referendum will not be okay, and he's cautioning President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga against bulldozing their way through a referendum without consensus. In an interview with the Star, NCIC chairman Samuel Kobia said the foundation of the Building Bridges initiative was to unite the country, hence a contested plebiscite will miss its cardinal objective.
Miriam, one thing that we, and my question is, if we continue saying that a contested referendum will divide this nation, is he telling us in future we're not supposed to have an election because it will also divide Kenyans? You know, this NCIC of today is a sleeping giant, and I don't think there anything new they are telling us. You know, better when we had Orekaparo. He used to say something. The apostle that we have currently is not up to the task. And Miriam, one thing that those people are calling for consensus. And what are they fearing? Because Miriam, I agree with Professor, the people who are calling for consensus, these are the people who are opposing the document. Why are they opposing to go for, why are they fearing to go for that and to declare they are from the no camp? where is the big deal? Where is this thing that they want us to consensus about? Because Miriam, and this is a problem, everybody was talking of consensus. They are not giving us the solution. As the apostle there, Kobia, is not telling us this is what we are supposed to do. In order to avoid a contested referendum, we should do this and that. They are not giving a solution. Miriam, we need people who, when they talk of consensus, they should also give solution. But those who are trying to give a solution, those are not solutions. Some of them are giving us terms. They are giving us rules. They are saying that if you don't do this, we will not support. Miriam, this document is not a document to make someone happy. It's not a document to make someone feel enlightened. These are not a document to entertain someone. These are document of Kenyans. It's Kenyans who brought their proposals in that are contained in the document. Therefore, Kenyans should also be given a chance. And Miriam, I agree. The train has already left the station. And Miriam, those people who are saying for consensus, they don't agree with the process. Let them come up with their own constitutional change, Miriam, that will not be contested. That is my invitation. I invite them. The likes the church, the Muslim leaders, the deputy president. Let them start a process of amending the constitution so that they fix what they feel is not good for this country. We had the Okoa Kenya by Moses Kuria. We had the Puguza Mzigo. We have the BBI. Let them come with their own initiative of those like-minded individuals of consensus. Let them start their own constitutional reform, and the Kenyans will give a chance to it. They will read and comprehend what they are saying. And at the end of the day, they will decide whether to go for a referendum or to go for a consensus. Therefore, but what we have now, this is a BBI. Kenyans are reading the document. Those things that need to be done in the parliament, the legislative one, they will be done in the parliament. That one requires Kenyans to have their say. Kenyans will have the document. They'll have the final say. And I feel like now they should not stand in the gray areas. Let them be on the white or the black side. Even the Bible, God does not love those people who are cool, those people are there in the middle.
Lukewarm.
You want people who are yes or no. It's either you are in the church or you're out of the church.
Yes.
Yeah?
Okay. All right.
Lukewarm. Yeah, those people lukewarm. But
Okay.
these people are calling for the consensus. They are there. They are not cool. They are not hot. They are just there. But what I know, they are for the no camp. Let them read the no campaign, and the Kenyans will decide. If those people are supporting the document, if it failed in 2005, and it was sponsored by the government, nothing will change. Kenya will continue, and in future we'll have another moment to change and to make our constitution better, because we are making a constitution for the people. We are not making for a group of people.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Very well said there.
On the same vein and bread,
Yes.
let me mention this quote by Martin Luther King Jr. While he is making his famous speech, Why I Am Opposed to the War in Vietnam. He says that the hottest place in hell is reserved for those whom, in a moment of moral crisis, maintain their neutrality. You and I know that where we are right now, as my brother said, that people who are saying that we go for we continue molding consensus are cleverly trying to stop us from doing the things we need to do. Then when time runs, then they would say that now it is too late to hold a referendum, let's go to the general election.
Correct.
We can have fallen into the trap that was first put in place by Jeremiah Kioni and the company. So we must turn away from that trap.
Professor.
And here, this
Yes,
Miriam,
go ahead.
the only way we can be on consensus, the only way, Kenyans have given their views.
Yes.
These people are asking for consensus. They have not given their views so that we compare what they have in their mind or their head, Miriam. The easiest way to have an contested referendum, Miriam, is for them to support VBI. Period. And then Kenya will be safe. But Miriam, the way my fellow panelists are putting it, Miriam, Those who are asking, and this is what I want to come very out, Miriam. They were outside there bettering rice. Bettering rice. Complete rice. We are creating position for who, you are expanding for this. It has turned out to be the case. Miriam, the Supercam judge, the Muslims, they gave their views. The judge gave their views. All the independent commissions, including this national cohesion, they gave their views. Miriam, these are views for Kenyans. Why do you want to be opposed to my views which I gave and they have been captured? The only way they can be thrust out, Miriam, is a referendum. Let us not enter into this trap. And I'm requesting the Prime Minister and the President, if they believed in BBI, let us soldier on. And in fact, Miriam, even to change the constitution of Kenya, President Uhuru cannot do it, the Prime Minister cannot do it, the judge cannot do it, Parliament cannot do it. It is the people of Kenya. And they will do it through a referendum, as it is visited in Article 254, 255, 256. There is we can't go outside there.
Okay, so let's...
What belongs to the people of Kenya, bring to them.
And they will decide upon it. Yes, now before you come in, Javan, let me just read that story about SUPKEM and what they're saying here on page 7 of the Standard newspaper. And they say Muslim leaders are calling for a more inclusive process to amend the constitution. They said although the Building Bridges Initiative report constitute proposals that are of a constitutional, policy, legislative and administrative nature, President Uhuru Kenyatta should ensure there is full participation of the people. The instructions to mobilize for the support of the document and sanction those against will create an atmosphere of fear, which is not conducive for a constitutional moment, Supreme Council of Kenya Muslim SUPKEM Acting Chairperson Hassan Olenado said. He added, BBI architects failed to design a process that enhances our constitutionalism and one that is inclusive, transparent, and accountable. Jeff, what are you saying?
I was saying this, Miriam, and today I agree with, and I have been agreeing with the professor and the fellow panelists that these people are for the delay tactics. And I have learned that we cannot have a referendum 1 year to the general election. Miriam, we have only 8 months to do the referendum or to amend the constitution. Because as it stands, from what I've learned, is that 1 year to the general election, we cannot have a referendum. Therefore, Miriam, as we stand now, we only have 8 months. From August next year, we will not be able to have such kind of thing. We'll be up to for the 2022 general election. And Miriam, when we had the violence in 2007, those mediators, they urged the Kenyan government to be making sure that they have a credible and reliable electioneering body 2 years prior to the general election. Miriam, that is what we are trying to do. Therefore, we are even short of time. And I feel like the government of the day, the president, because he is a part and parcel of the BBI process, he should make sure that this process is not delayed further. It should continue. And as the timeline was saying that we'll have a referendum around June, then that is timely. And that is what I expect. And Miriam, yesterday I was watching Kimani Chungwa in one of the local TV station, a debate with Wambugu Ngojiri. And he was asked, and he is a William Ruto supporter, why are they not saying no? They are saying yes, but, yes, maybe, yes. They are yes, but they yes with something else. And he was saying that that thing that they are saying yes for,
but they've not said really yes. But they've not really said yes. But I know they've been saying maybe, perhaps, remove, deduct, add. All
that's that. Yes. When
yes is not the premise.
You say yes.
Yes is not the premise. Yes has never been their premise. They've not come out outright and said we're supporting this process, but so yes is not their premise. But they have the maybes, the buts, add, reduce, remove, all that. But the premise is not yes. Yes.
One thing that we must agree, they are not saying no.
Yeah. So maybe.
The probabilities, they are saying maybe, perhaps, the document, and he was very categorical, the document is not bad for Kenya, but the problem is the expanded executive and the National Police Council. And then he was asked, why does he feel like the president of the day will control the parliament when they have been telling us that on their team they have numbers, they will win the 2020 election? Does he want to have a president from his camp who is powerful? And you could see the message, and from even the body gesture. These people, they are opposing this document not because it is bad. They are just opposing it because their master is opposing the document. And he was asked, what if today William Ruto says yes? Will you continue opposing the document? And you could see he was confused. He has no answer for that question. Therefore, Miriam, the people who are calling for consensus, most of them, they are just doing it because the person who they are speaking on behalf is saying no. And some of them, they know even in their conscience that the document they have read is not bad. And you see, in the whole document, he has a problem with the expanded executive and the National Police Council. Miriam, that is an issue that can be dealt with. And if they have the numbers to form the government in the next general election, why are they worried?
Okay.
Therefore, Miriam, at the end of the day, this document, Kenyans have read it, and there's no worry, Miriam. Let's go for the referendum. If the yes wins, there's no problem. Kenya will continue. If the other people are opposing, Kenya will stand and will continue. Therefore,
so what you're saying, they are
hiding in between there, and the document is not bad. They are just there because their masters are not saying yes.
Okay, all right. So what you're saying is we should ignore what the NCIC advised there, that a contested referendum will cause more division in Kenya. So you're saying, all of you have said the NCIC should first sort out.
William, let me ask you.
The head speeches.
If this article,
if that we stop even.
I have something to ask William.
Jeremy, wait. Go ahead, Professor.
I'm asking you, Miriam, when we are saying, do we will have a question whereby Miriam will go and tick, or what is it going to happen? How is it going to be?
I'm not.
Kiddy, you are a lawyer. Assist me.
In fact, Kiddy.
If we are going for the referendum, Miriam, we will go and tick yes.
So we will be ticking yes.
It must have a no and a yes.
Maybe Kiddy
Miriam,
will
there are those who will agree,
and
there are those who will not agree. I'm sure.
Kiddy, has there been an uncontested referendum?
So let them just do their civil duty, Miriam. Support the document if you want.
Okay. We're having a problem there with Professor's signal. Yeah.
I was trying to turn off my phone because I have folks calling me over and over.
Okay, sour. But
yes.
Can you help
now,
us?
Your question was, has there been an uncontested referendum?
In the history of any country, yeah.
Well, the mere fact that it is a referendum is that it is a question on a constitutional issue of that country, otherwise known as a plebiscite. A plebiscite or a referendum is usually one of the tools within a democracy through which conflicts are resolved. And so that saying that having an uncontested referendum is what we'd call an ideal scenario. But then, you know that life as it is never ideal. We are all uniquely maladjusted. So that in this referendum process, if and when William Ruto and co. would have come down their high horses and engaged in this process genuinely and respectfully, but at least genuinely, respectfully is debatable, genuinely, then we would have been able as a country to mold a way forward that is without heat. But then, and then I must say that we have not lost that opportunity entirely, because you realize that the stumbling blocks that they have been putting on the way are premised by their own desire for political survival. But then the other problem is that their political survival appears to be premised on selfishness. Selfishness, because it seems that William Ruto and co. are coming from a school of thought that this a constitutional dispensation as it is, unaltered and unchanged, would give them a upper hand in 2022. And therefore, that's why from the get-go, when the president and the prime minister released that communique detailing the 9-point agenda, they looked at it and immediately they went on the overdrive of bastardizing it. But then, if they realized, in the words of the late Professor Saitoti, that there comes a time when the nation is greater than an individual, then we could just have an uncontested referendum and make history so that other folks in other jurisdictions would refer to Kenya and say that at such a point in time, Kenyans came together in the interest of the country and had an uncontested referendum.
So what you're saying is, Kidi, what you're saying in plain layman's language for people like me is that it has never happened anywhere before.
No, never. But then we could be a peseta.
We could be. Well, we did. They were ruling in
How
Malawi.
will the question be set?
That's what Kid is saying. It has never happened.
47 million Kenyans.
Tick yes.
You
yes,
say
yes.
you agree with this constitution with no option, and they go and tick.
It doesn't even make sense. We just
They are Kenyans, Kid, which I'm telling you, they don't talk, but they are quiet. They don't make noise.
Yes.
So you cannot assume
that
the political class that Kenya belongs to them. They lie themselves.
No, Professor, what I'm saying is that the heated contention at the political level would have gone down.
Yes.
Of course, the people who would want to say that would even oppose for opposing sake, they would possibly troop to the polling booth and strike no, so that there is a vote that went for the no. Let me give you a classical example. In the year 2002, James Orengo was running for president against the political behemoth that was Uhuru Kenyatta then and Mwai Kibaki. So in my polling station, it's called Nyamanga Primary School. There is an old man who has always loved going against the grain. So that in my village, in that time, everyone voted for Mwai Kibaki. But then this old man decided to vote for Orengo. Not because he thought that Orengo was going to become president, but for the joy that he did not go the direction everyone else was going. So yes, if you were able to mold the political consensus in the referendum, it would qualify as an uncontested referendum, but still that we would put it, the question as yes and no, and still no would get some votes. Yes.
Okay. So there's something else, Professor. There's something else that SUPKEM leaders there raised, and the Senado reiterated Abdi's take and said the proposals in the constitutional report were too technical and do not render an easy understanding amongst ordinary Mwananchi. He's quoted as saying the document requires one to know the various articles of the constitution to understand the changes being proposed. So how can that be solved? They're saying, as it is right now, because I've been reading the abridged report, which is the shortened report, and it's quite straight to the point. But the SUPKEM leaders, they are saying for some Kenyans, some ordinary Kenyans, they have not been able to read and understand this report. So that is also one of the key reasons why they're not supporting the BBI. I don't know, but they're saying that is a problem. So how can that be fixed, Professor, if you could propose?
Miriam, wonders never ceases. We will always have wonders. Where are these SUPKEM saying that the people of Kenya have not read the document? Have they carried a survey? Do you want to assume that the few people you just meet in the mosque and you worship together, those are Kenyans, Miriam? So Miriam, Article 1 of the Kenyan Constitution, Miriam, say all sovereign power belongs to the people of Kenya. It does not belong to the church. It does not belong to the president. It does not belong to SUPKEM. If they're concerned, Miriam, let me tell you. I like the deputy president for one thing, Miriam. He's a smart guy. He knows on what kind of fashion he comes. He makes this one make noise, the judge make noise, everybody makes noise, and then you think, Miriam, that these people mean it. Miriam, see, I have said 32 months, 2 years, 8 months. Where has been Supercam? What did they say? And it's not. I agree the way Kiddy, Comrade Kiddy Strang say. If these people are genuine, Miriam, the way we are genuine, Miriam, we are saying that document is not 100% perfect, Miriam, but it can take Kenya into another level. Miriam, in an unlikely event, we don't have this document. Look at the games which Kenyan will lose. So, Miriam, I am here to sit from where getting to be educated and which methodology, Miriam, will be used to educate the people of Kenya. If I were them, I would ask you, as I've read somewhere, that this document should be translated to local languages, Miriam. What they should be talking about, Miriam, is to ask for time for civic education, Miriam. So that this thing can be done on vernacular, on the radio station, on Twitter, on social media. That's what makes sense. But trying to say, oh, the Kenyans have not read, I don't know. I need to have a survey like the one, the one episode that's Miriam, and then you can be able to even intelligence. Sometimes when the intelligence says that, fine. But someone cannot work from where he has been sleeping to come and tell that the Kenyans have not read. Himself, he has read and is giving comments. What makes him think that other Kenyans have not gotten that opportunity? And as a church, and when they are meeting every in the morning, in the 5 times a day in their prayer, they should spend 5 minutes, Miriam. How many times have we taken Miriam to go through this document? And we are almost finishing the articles. It means, Miriam, there is no sincerity and genuineness from some of the Kenyans, Miriam. They are just opposed to. And with time you will come and say, bro, you were right. These are candidates for no. And yesterday we demystified, and you know the reasons why the deputy president cannot come and say no.
Okay, Jevin, as we conclude on this matter, SUPKEM leaders, they are saying, one, Kenyans are not able to fully understand the BBI because they've used a language that is perhaps is not quite easy for normal Mwananchi to understand. So perhaps what will be the solution to that?
Miriam, that thing is not correct. And what the SUPKEM are saying, that is not the reality in the ground. Miriam, we have local radio stations, Miriam. Open your local radio station that speaks your language, and you'll see them discussing BBI. Like in the morning, I was listening to a show, and it was talking matters BBI, and they read a part of the document. Miriam, anybody who is talking of not reading the document or not having a knowledge of what the document is saying, these are just people who are ignorant. And I feel like Mzee Jomo Kenyatta was right when he said that poverty, disease, and ignorance, those are the major things that are affecting Kenya at independence. And the post-independence, those are still things that are affecting our nation. Because Miriam, as a leader, he should also be telling us which efforts are they making as SUPKEM or as the church to educate those Kenyans that they feel have not read the document. This is not about the government, Miriam. If they have the resources, they have what it takes. Why can't they go there and do civic education to the members of the church so that at the end of the day, their church members will be able to make an upright decision? Therefore, Miriam, this thing does not hold any water. They're just saying it for the sake of saying. Because Miriam, this document was launched a month ago. What makes them feel like now is the time that Kenyans have not read the document, when themselves have read the document and understand what it's talking about. Therefore, Miriam, these people who are calling for consensus, they have no issue with the BBI. They are just there, they just want to make their voice heard, and they just saying contrary so that they can attract an audience. Because Miriam, to this moment, when you say something like that and you're a church leader, you will get viewership. You will go to this local TV station and people will see you. You are local men in home. You will see that this person is talking in a television and they will start celebrating you. Those are kind of things that some of these people are doing. But at the end of the day, we need Kenyans to read the document for themselves. And if they can't, we have people who they trust who can read the document. And the Miriam, if it calls for everybody, every Kenyan understanding the document, then it can be translated to local languages. That I don't feel like that is a big thing, We have the Bible that is translated to almost every language in this world. Therefore, if possible, it can be translated and people can get it in their local languages. So if it's a matter of understanding.
All right, thank you so much. And as we conclude, there's a story here. Of course, the former Mr. Murunga, Member of Parliament who died last week, and MP's two widows want mistress to place in court. Not that this is actually a story we need to look at, but I'd just like to hear opinion of the lawyer we have in the house today. So indulge me, Mr. Kidi. Now, two widows of Matungu Member of Parliament Justice Murunga now want a mistress seeking to stop his burial next week to deposit 10 million Kenya shillings as a security for stopping the funeral. Mrs. Christabel Murunga and Mrs. Grace Murunga say they have spent so much in procuring services including food for mourners, and that stopping the burial will cause their families heavy losses. So the part that I want Kidi to help me understand is they went to court and they're asking the court to that the mistress who went to sue them and to stop the burial, she gives a 10 million Kenya shillings deposit as security for stopping the funeral. Is that a thing in law? Kidi.
He's muted. Unmute.
Kidi, is that a
Yes.
thing? Is that a thing in law?
No, one thing about legal processes, especially litigation, is that there is usually the need to lock out vexatious litigants, busybodies, from coming to court and wasting the court process. The court's time, so that the prayer by the widows is just an attempt to ensure that they safeguard their interest. But then there is nothing in law that stops them from making such a prayer. The only thing is that if allowed, it has the net effect of defeating justice. Justice in the sense that the widow, of course, the applicant may not be able to have access to such a colossal amount of money, and therefore that would, in effect, mean that the matter would have been lost before the court has an opportunity to hear the substance. Yes.
Okay. So the mistress, Miss Agnes Vamboye Wambiri, obtained the order stopping the burial pending the determination of a paternity case she has filed. And Professor last time said hakupangwa, Mr. Murunga should have pangered her before he died. Professor.
But Miriam, again, when you read the law, Miriam, this man, the honorable member of parliament has been supporting these children.
Yes, two children, apparently.
These children, they know him, Miriam, whether married or not married, they know him as their father. So when it comes to the best interest of the child, of the children, I think this Mpango Wakando is doing something right.
Okay.
And I don't think Miriam, she will be a busybody to go even and ask for paternity test, Miriam, to be done. So, Miriam, this is a learning process, and I agree with what Kid is trying to say, that courts are there for people to go there, Miriam. If you feel you have got a case, you file in court, and the court will look at it and see whether it's an arguable case. And if that is the case, Miriam, the parties will be invited, Miriam, so that they converse. So, Miriam, we cannot blame someone who is gone, but let's hope that the justice will be done to both parties.
All right, very well. Jevan, I hope unasoma kitu hapo. Things not to do. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Professor. Thank you, Kidi, and also thank you, Jevan. We shall be back with our viewers here at the top of the hour, and we shall be looking at safety and security and how the BBI has addressed that, and also we will get into details on this headline here on the Star newspaper. Uhuru lays bare crime surge in security report. This security report that was presented to President Uhuru Kenyatta, and what the Kenyans put forth for the BBI team. They said that should be looked at in terms of their safety and security. This has been Good Morning Africa. My name is Miriam Mugutu. I'll see you at the top of the hour.